it. they get like asylum because they, and our government's so dumb it falls for that shit. Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying, the government falls for it. Like, how is this the government that we can trust to, you know, prosecute people criminally and you know, put down justice when they get fooled by some fucking 70 IQ retard that never even got a proper education in a third world nation, and they can trick them. Yeah, so how can we trust the fucking government? Like I said, like I was talking to AI, and even the AI understood that Haley was clearly like attention seeking. 223. AR-15. You want an AR-15? You want a 223? Which one do you want? Is it? Yeah, always in a weapon.
Shadow Drop last week. I think it was last week on this show.
We were talking about it, yeah.
We were talking about it. Like, oh yeah, it should Shadow Drop at any moment. I'll give people a week now. The week of April 21st. So basically the last week of this month.
In the lead up to its release, the developers Virtuous leaked images of the game. Xbox support accidentally reported a release date. The Bethesda website released invisible web pages naming the game directly, and of course the FTC document leak all pointed to high credibility of this remaster being real.
That I get to be the one to announce that the Oblivion remaster will be available today.
Across the three great fandoms of Skyrim, Oblivion, and Morrowind, reception to the game was very positive. A gorgeous remaster that updated some outdated mechanics of the game but preserved the janky, whimsical charm of the original. For Oblivion fans, Oblivion needed to remain Oblivion with all its faults intact. To use the words of the great Iron Pineapple, a good game can turn into a great game if it sucks a little bit in an interesting way.
What is it, citizen? The Imperial Legion is at your disposal. What can I do for you? I can't speak to you right now.
Snow. We need more snow. Can't have enough snow.
Indeed.
The most intriguing element of Bethesda's marketing strategy for the Oblivion remaster is how staggeringly opposed it is to the announcement of The Elder Scrolls 6. One was announced potentially decades in advance of its release, the other not discussed at all, permitting the internet to drum up speculation as a means of marketing the game. Totally polar opposite strategies. Perhaps Bethesda had learned their lesson. Perhaps these leaks weren't unintended at all. Bethesda were definitely learning something. But what does this all mean for the Elder Scrolls 6? Well, outside of Todd Howard giving a meager update in the Oblivion remaster reveal,
You think about the Elder Scrolls, to us it goes beyond game franchise.
Yeah, it's the DNA of Bethesda Game Studios.
Obviously, we're working on the 6th chapter here.
FTC document leaked a potential release date of 2025. This is obviously incorrect, but if the projected year for the Oblivion remaster, Doom, and Indiana Jones are to be used as a basis, this would lead fans to believe that 2026 might be the real year of release. Highly unlikely, but in the age where the Oblivion remaster shadow drops, not impossible either. Furthermore, the FTC trial in 2023 clearly showed two very important details. First, the Elder Scrolls 6 was coming after 2026, and second, it was going to be an Xbox and PC exclusive, much to the bitter dismay of PlayStation gamers. However, with Microsoft's expected push into cloud-based gaming, a glimmer of hope still existed ahead of any official announcements. With speculation and eagerness for further news circulating the internet, gamers were beginning to feel the excitement once again. Later that same year, Pete Hines, lead publisher at Bethesda Softworks, confirmed that the Elder Scrolls 6 was actually in early development. Todd Howard and Bethesda weren't exactly hiding the fact that the Elder Scrolls 6 was in any kind of production, and with the overarching success of the Oblivion remaster and a potential Fallout 3 remaster in the pipeline, Bethesda were entering a new era of positivity with their fans. 2024 was a year that helped to build this momentum, for it was a particularly special year, the fabled 30th anniversary of the Elder Scrolls. That's right, on the 26th of March 2024, it had been a full 30 years since the first release of the Elder Scrolls Arena in 1994, and over the course of those 3 decades since, Bethesda built a towering legacy of producing arguably the most well-received single-player RPG experiences in the industry, influencing a vast anthology of incredible worlds built on the shoulders of these giants. In the usual game studio fashion, Bethesda elected to do absolutely nothing with this incredible milestone other than post on Twitter, which felt like the equivalent of getting a pack of cigarettes for Christmas from your recently divorced dad. The post was lengthy, recounting the history of the Elder Scrolls legacy, but finished with a final note. Last but not least, yes, we are in development on the next chapter, The Elder Scrolls 6. Even now returning to Tamriel and playing early builds has filled us with the same joy, excitement, and promise of adventure. While some might consider this a small update, this was the first mention of any build of the existing game. Fans were elated. The mythical game of their fevered dreams was potentially more mature than they first realized. The Elder Scrolls 6 was coming. Later that year, on the 26th of June 2024, a leaker claiming to be an ex-Bethesda employee took to 4chan with a host of new information. The leak prophesized a few things: Hammerfell as the location, 5 factions including all favourites like the Dark Brotherhood, dragons, skill tree and progression updates, and a narrative centered on void gods hell-bent on crossing over to the mortal plane. Thankfully, fans in the comments weren't so optimistic about the realism of this leak. Source: trust me, bro. Random 4chaner decides to troll. Some people actually fall for it. Reads like a Guna letter to Santa Claus. Regardless of the very tenuous validity of this leak, fans rallied around the new rumours. There was an almost blissful excitement that hung in the air. It didn't matter if the leaks were real. It was just fun to be talking about The Elder Scrolls 6 again. And it wouldn't be long before another leak sprung forth on July of 2024 that had a mite more credibility than the hearsay of a random 4chan goblin. The leak centered on the Pinterest account of a publicly known Bethesda employee. Eager fans had noticed that the account had captured a vision board of sci-fi images during the development of Starfield, and had since changed to exclusively fantasy visuals since its release. These images show distinctly Redguard-themed armor, landscapes, and weaponry, which added some credibility to the theories that The Elder Scrolls 6 would be hosted in the land of Hammerfell, where the Redguard people hail from. Schools of fish were additionally featured, fans theorizing that this may indicate a shipbuilding mechanic that would carry over from Starfield's interstellar rendering of the same concept. Either way, leaks are leaks, none of these carrying any official confirmation from Bethesda, just more enjoyable speculation from a fan base beginning to feel hope again. Between this prominent leak and the current day, there were just 2 smaller newsworthy moments. First, on September 12, 2024, The Elder Scrolls Castles launched, a mobile management game developed by Bethesda that received a fairly mixed reception upon its release. You'd be forgiven for not knowing that this was released at all, as the marketing was almost non-existent. Second, Bethesda partnered with the Make-A-Wish Foundation to do a silent auction that would award the winner with the rare opportunity to be immortalized as an NPC in The Elder Scrolls 6. So that now leaves us squarely in the present, 7 years in the future. An Oblivion remaster freshly in our hands, and The Elder Scrolls 6 still nowhere to be found. However, for fans, the state of play is fairly clear at this point. Todd Howard, Pete Hines, and Phil Spencer all making definitive statements that the game is more than likely releasing in 2028 or later. Despite the speculation that 2026 may be the release date, sentiment from executives around the development of the game is a message that issues a while longer. And the show drop of the Oblivion remaster has taught fans anything, it's that Bethesda are learning from their mistakes. 7 years of critical mistakes and failures that have enabled them to grow. So while Bethesda Game Studios continues to support The Elder Scrolls 6, fans might be seeing a resurgence of this point studio running decisively out of the whole of their own creation. The fate of Bethesda's relationship with its fanbase hinged on the release of its fabled game, announced much too early, but creating a gaming legend by doing so. The weight of expectation, the burden of waiting hanging heavily in the air, The Elder Scrolls 6 has to live up to the mythology of its development, or Bethesda may find that the hole that they dug for themselves is the grave where their eroded reputation may be laid.
An inspiring technical engineer and mega fan of the channel. But instead of meeting Obi at, let's say, a meet and greet, I instead meet him inside of our stink house trying to pierce our 11-year-old decoy with his lightsabers. On today's episode, we make shocking discoveries while also trying to get inside the dark side of Obi. On this episode of EDP Watch. Today's one, I'm not even lying, man. I think I'm literally gonna have a talk with this kid. His name's Obi-Wan Kenobi. My only hope, but not anymore because And I'm not trying to self-blaze myself, but all the notes go in. So this is the one picture you don't want to take with you. Now let's get to it.
Where are you? Oh, okay. Okay, come on.
Are you nervous?
Yeah.
Yes.
You know, phase. Phase.
Phase, but yeah, yeah. Dang, he's still producing shit.
Who are your favorite YouTubers? You don't watch YouTube?
I do watch a lot.
Okay.
Good morning.
I used to watch them.
Do Perfect, pretty good. Mr. Beast.
Oh yeah. That's your
Yeah. I used to watch David Dobrik.
Oh really? Didn't he like get canceled?
For some reason.
Are you on YouTuber?
Yeah, I'm already looking down. Like, who do I follow? What about Vicky? Also got canceled.
Yeah, you got canceled.
Oh, should I get it to work? Yeah, I can get it to work.
I mean, get a kitchen. Like, you're making.
I just want to do so.
What's good, man? Doing good, man. Is it cool? Like, I just want to have a cool conversation. Can you sit down?
Yeah.
What's up, man? What you doing here today?
Just wanted to chat and see if, like, you know, they were chilling a little bit.
They're chill. You think they're chill? Okay. Who are your friends you're going to meet today? You're going to meet just
I forgot their name.
yeah, you forgot your friend's name.
Well, it's my first time meeting them, so I'm sorry.
Real man hugs your bitch. My big black
how can I trust one actually coming to these things to stop you from so you know just to actually bring the kids to you don't have to bring equipment. Like the equipment's already on you based off. This isn't fun. I know that you didn't come here to actually be religious. Yeah. Would you put it right in the Bible that you didn't come here to do these things? That was. A lot of people out there don't not. So, Jessica, can you come down? So, listen to a lesson. Sure. I'm having just a few questions. How confident do you feel that you're going to pass this? I also heard concerning like Cody Cut. You know, he's kind of in the same situation you are. Apparently, he was messing around with enrichment too. Not really. Maybe you guys knew you could just watch.
That's how we get brother.
And you said you stopped studying. Are you actually doing that? Yes. Sure. Are you actually Asian? Yes. That's were your intentions to have enforced by underage girls? Did you knowingly know that these girls were underage and that you were breaking the law? Yes. Did you have intentions to side with these jail girls? Kind of nasty. That's it. And you also did send that to the board for just an explanation. You shut up. Were you hoping to have sex today? No, it's not. That's it. Oh, you did? Were you hoping to have sex again today? How old is you? 26. So why would you downgrade from a 26-year-old to a 18-year-old? That's a downgrade, in my opinion. But you only got something to say, man. Your head should be clear. Did you have intention on doing what you do for? Did you have intention to take Jessica to sleep? Did you have intention to take sexual pictures of Jessica, knowing that she was asleep? Why would you want to get pictures of her? What was your family thinking? Shit, they have That's crazy. That's crazy. That's like, hey, yo, so shadow. When the police are outside, luckily for you, this was just my son, and the sheriff right there. So he's done the phone at our house. So pretty much our organization is called Gty454Wqg5yL5U, where we information about people talking to police on the internet. I'm sad to tell you that this phone actually came to meet a video my name is Jen Hanson with Gty454. That's the name of our show. Currently right now he will most likely probably be arrested. I would never jump like this. Once the police give me their phone number, I can definitely give you over their number and everything. His car is in front of our house. Yes, sir. Like I said, I'll call you right back once I get further details on what the police end up doing with him. Like I said, right now he's not arrested. Currently, no, sir. He's detained right now with court. I'm not law enforcement myself. I can't even talk to him. Yes, sir. I am part of the thing, but right now it's in the hands of the law enforcement. Well, he came to meet in person today. It just depends on like how I think like because like I said, the chat log is.
Yesterday I talked about a streamer who passed away while on stream named Rob Allen, known online as Sean. He was a French streamer who was once a gamer, then started doing more IRL content and teamed up with some real degenerates that mistreated him and abused him for a very long time. And then they did a 10-day marathon. Sean Carter started see all of this, and it's very, very hard to watch. I looked into this super deeply. Sean Carter was an individual who went through a lot of stuff, and he was a vulnerable person. And from what I can tell, this group with Naruto and Safune, these are big Twitch streamers, they exploited his desire to be was let them beat the fuck out of him and treat him like garbage, dehumanize him, abuse him physically, mentally, and put him through torture on the stream for their content because it was very popular content. It was all broadcast on Kick, and I speculated yesterday that Kick probably knew about it. Turns out they 100% knew about it, and Kick France would even make tweets about John Parmenov and the torture he was enduring. They were fully aware of what was happening. They even used him to push their merch. So, Kick France, it's not like they can just try and make the claim, this flew under our radar. If only we had known, we would have swooped in like fucking Batman and saved Gotham City from this degeneracy. They knew. They even were an active participant in encouraging it. So, they can't just play like the blissful ignorance card on it. Now, I read that Kick Twitter account that was posting about it was run by a French agency, so maybe like Kick's staff didn't particularly know, but I find that kind of hard to believe that you would just let this agency have free reign and that never ever reports back to Kick itself. So I'm very confident they were aware of what was happening, but since these streams were so popular, they were big. Like, I knew they were very successful, but I didn't know how big they were. These were huge streams. And since they were so huge, I think they were hesitant to shut it down, and given Kick's history of just letting illegal activity go unpunished for a really long time, I think it's pretty safe to say that they saw the amount of eyeballs this was bringing, and they just let it run. They didn't care that Jean Parmenov was literally being fucking abused on their platform because it was getting some big-time peepers on the platform. And I think that needs to change ASAP for Kick. This is a platform that's growing a lot, and as I've said this a lot, I think it's a good thing if Kick continues to be successful. Competition in the streaming space is crucial, but the way that they handle their own rules is laughable. It's just as bad as the way Twitch handles their rules. Kick is not shutting down illegal activity on their platform, and they need to. Again, I'm not saying had they shut down this marathon of abuse stream, it would have saved John Parmenov's life. There's no way of knowing that, but at the very least, you would have set the tone that abusing and fundamentally torturing a human being on your platform is not welcome, which I think is a good stance to take. It seems like it's something that a lot of the streamers on Kick would also like Kick to step up and do. Again, I mentioned this yesterday as another example. There was a streamer who is still actively streaming on Kick, as of me making this right now, is literally live, who has fucked multiple prostitutes on stream, and includes one time where he fucked a prostitute on stream with a child in the room while he did it on stream, and that guy is still not banned. Kick needs to start actually taking crimes seriously, which I can't believe is something that even needs to be said. But anyway, I'm not going to rant about that any longer. The big update to today's story is a French investigation has concluded that Jean Parmenov's death was not the result of any foul play. According to a public prosecutor, there was a post-mortem conducted, and it was found that he would not have been killed by trauma or a third party. The probable causes of death appear to be medical and or toxicological. This is from Damien Martinelli, saying that further tests had been ordered, but ultimately they are concluding that this was not the result of all the abuse and mistreatment that he endured for so long from these streamers that were beating him and strangling him and torturing him. The forensic doctors found no internal or external traumatic injuries, burns, only a few bruises and healed lesions. Medical experts consider that Mr. Gravin's death was not traumatic in origin and was not related to the intervention of a third party. Gravin may have suffered from heart problems and was undergoing medical treatment for his thyroid gland, the prosecutor added. There's a lot to unpack with this. Now, while his actual cause of death might not be directly related to all of the beatings and shit that he took from these fucking demons, I think it's inarguable that all of the stress and all of the torture that he endured probably was pretty bad for his already present medical conditions. I would make an argument, now of course I'm not a medical expert, that subjecting a human being with medical problems as well as a couple of other things going on in the medical history to the amount of beatings, strangulation, stress, consumption of dangerous chemicals, sleep deprivation, and doing your absolute best to ensure perpetual misery of that individual probably exacerbates a lot of problems that could lead to their death. I would say that is something that most sensible people would agree with. I think if someone has underlying medical conditions, fundamentally torturing them is probably just going to make it worse. Even if the torture doesn't directly kill them, I would be shocked if anyone thinks that this means that those streamers' hands are clean. Like, oh, case closed. He didn't die from any of the trauma he experienced. Yeah, he had some bruises and all of that. And yes, he was abused for so long, mistreated, and fundamentally tortured by these individuals. But his actual death, well, it looks like that was just of natural causes and had nothing to do with any of this innumerable amount of torture that we've bore witness to. Surely that was all just circumstantial, had nothing to do with any of that. They're blameless. These are just some saints here. These are angels, actually. These are just good friends of Raphael Gravin who are clearly going to be mourning his loss just as much as everyone else. They did nothing wrong. It was just medical problems that they in no way was impacted by the abuse that he was subjected to for such an extended period of time from these individuals. I think all of the evidence that you can freely watch of all of the numerous, unfathomable mountain of clips of them just beating the shit out of him and literally like abusing him constantly, fundamentally torturing this man, would indicate that they definitely played a role in making his overall health worse. And we have the text messages from Raphael Gravin to his mother that indicate how much stress he was under and how he felt like he was being held hostage by them, that he couldn't leave, and that he desperately wanted out. It was so bad with their abuse of this man that they actually had him on stream to confirm that if he dies, it's not their fault. I had to translate this, but in a clip that's out there, they are saying, well, what happens if John Parmenov dies? They said, well, we're going to have to get him to say that it's not our fault if he dies. It's a result of his lifelong bad health, his bad decisions, his terrible way of living that led to his death if he dies. And he initially said no. He didn't want to say that. But they made him say that. They forced him to say that if he dies, it is not because of all of the abuse that they subject him to. Does that sound like the actions of an innocent party here? They knew that he was vulnerable. They knew that what they were doing could very well, end up with him dead, it seems. And then to try and cover their ass, they had him agree that if he dies, it's because of his own health problems, which he initially declined to do, but they kept insisting that he clears them. It's fucking absurd to try and make the claim that all of these streams, the months worth of abuse, more than months, a long time of abuse they subjected John Parmenov to, had no role to play in his cancer. It's craziness to try and make it seem like just because they didn't fucking kill him on the spot on stream, that they had nothing to do with his death. Now, something I've seen popping up from some real fucking brain-dead morons here huffing stupid juice is that, well, he agreed to all of it, so it's his fault. Can't be mad at the streamers. That isn't the biggest load of fucking barnacles I've ever heard. First of all, we know from the text messages he didn't want to do it. He wanted to leave, but felt he couldn't leave, that he was being held hostage there. They weren't letting him leave, was the impression he was giving to a text message sent to his mother. Also, when I was reading, they would actually force him to do this, sometimes monetarily. They would financially pressure him to participate in their abuse and mistreatment. And from the very get-go, it feels like they manipulated a mentally vulnerable man who was looking for friends into being their guinea pig to just beat on stream for content to make money off him. They treated this guy like a human pinata, where they would hit him until money fell out from the deranged viewers that were watching and donating and all of that. There is nothing here that indicates that he was a willing participant for everything. Yes, he agreed to a certain level of extreme challenges, but clearly not all of it. Again, we have the text messages that he sent to his mother. It's clear he didn't want to do all of it. And it's clear on stream the amount of times he would say no to things, but they would still force him to eventually just succumb to it and agree. Also, from what I was reading, I'm not super familiar with the law in the region, but from what I read, you can't even legally consent to being tortured or anything like that in the first place. So even if he fully agreed to everything, it doesn't seem like you can legally even do that. You can't legally consent to fucking torture on yourself. It's just, this whole thing is indefensible in my eyes. Also, Naruto's a bitch. This loser brings shame to the entire Hidden Leaf village. He has ruined the Uzumaki name with this. He has filed a cyberbullying complaint amid the backlash to all of this. He has the gall to file a cyberbullying complaint about his feelings being hurt with people insulting him for all of the abuse that he subjected Jean Parmenov to. So he filed the complaint to the Paris Prosecutor's Office Cyber Hate Division, targeting those who have harassed Naruto since JP's death. As he goes through a period of mourning, Naruto is the subject of a cyberbullying campaign. These behaviors, in addition to being immoral, constitute criminal offenses. A complaint will be filed in the coming days with the Paris Prosecutor's Office Cyber Hate Division so that the perpetrators can be identified and prosecuted. You fucking vile worms. Imagine torturing a man for so long, so much mistreatment and abuse broadcast on streams you can make money off of this man's misery. And now, when that man passes away, you are now trying to play the victim yourself, you guys are hurting our feelings. How can you guys be mean to us? We've done nothing wrong. That was our best friend. Did you not read our heartfelt post where Naruto called him his sidekick? Did you also not read the part in Naruto's apology that was so heartfelt where he said, please stop sharing the final moments? Oh man, what, did you miss all that? Because the final moments make them look so bad, because in the final moments he throws a fucking water bottle at JP's lifeless body on the floor and then goes and slaps it to see if he'll be responsive, only to find out he's dead? Because for the entirety of that marathon stream, they're just abusing this poor guy? Like, oh my god, did you miss all of that? It's so clear how much they love their best friend. You guys are being mean to them? That's crazy. Oh my god, what's the world come to? We need to identify and prosecute everyone who's left a nasty comment about Naruto and Safune. It's so fucking cringe. It's crazy. It is just craziness. This story has been so fucking gross. And I can only pray that they actually do face punishment here. Because now I'm starting to worry that they won't. It looks like they might get away with it. I also learned that they've actually been taken in by French authorities earlier this year about everything they were putting John Carmen up to through on stream. But they were released the same day. And then it ultimately leads to what happened here, where they continue to do it because it looks like they're completely in the rights legally over there in France, I guess, to continue mistreating this guy. So they go, continue to do it on stream, and it leads to a fucking tragedy with the passing of John Carmen, 26 years old. This shit is so evil. Now again, all of this is happening in France, so a lot of the information that I get access to is through translations, so it is a little hard to keep up with everything, like, fully accurately, but I'm doing the best I can. It is just so sad. Like, this whole story of Raphael Bravo is just so sad, man. Like, it breaks my heart to see this kind of shit. Anyway, I just wanted to give you the update here. That's really about it. So, yeah.
Back to another exciting season of Red Island. This season, be sure to bring your beach towels, because we're filming in the beautiful island of Hawaii. Let's meet our contestants, Gty454Wqg5yL5U. He's a 22-year-old delivery boy, Roblox enthusiast, and a huge fan of our host, the Marcus Hanson.
I was like, oh shit, I'm gonna try getting some business.
So how is Kiyomi going to make it work? There's new Discord kitten. Find out in this episode of Red Island.
Aloha. What's good with y'all boys and girls, man? Welcome to another episode of AVP Watch. And today, we're here because of the one, the only, K1. I really don't know how to say his name. I just pulled up his graduation video, and they said right in there. Oh, that's how you pronounce it. But anyway, we were about to go feed our man, and shout out to Schlep. Make sure you guys go subscribe to his YouTube channel. He's the one who got us this Roblox spread, and I do have to say, man, this man has actually done Riz. I mean, literally, in the first 3 messages after our decoy said that she was Ron said, literally a blizzard egg. Idiot. So, K1, whatever your name is, shout out to you, man. You know what? I'm gonna take some tips while we go over these catalogs. But after we catch him, pick up my girl from the airport, and we going on vacation. I really don't have anything else to say, y'all. Aloha. So this was going on. He was at his stepdad's house with his mom. That house is right next to the park where he wants to meet at. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna tell him that we're there. He's gonna come over there to come meet the decoy. There's no decoy, obviously. We're just gonna go up, intercept him, and then we're gonna get this thing pumped and real good. Yeah, we were out there with the camera going for like an hour, and then it was just late. Had this been a real girl, it would have been a horrible start to their first date. But while we're out here waiting, I mean, we might as well just read what these lovebirds have been chatting about. Hey. How are you? You want to do some nerd?
How old are you, by the way?
22. You? You into older or you're quite young? You think you could handle it? What color panties you got on? Let me see.
I don't take photos like that.
that butt just once, honey butt. Just one time for daddy. I know you want it. Spread your legs and take a knotted pig for me. I'm so big. I can smoke you and stuff. I don't know if we can even go back to your place though. Let's go to a park or something and see how good you are. You ready on our first meet? Gentle, free, put easy into it. Next week, you could just say I'm going out with a friend and I'll get you.
Yeah.
You want me?
Yo, what is good, people of YouTube? I got more McDonald's today. Look, we got a quarter pounder BLT. Haven't had one of these in a while. So this channel's about to hit 2 million views, guys. I appreciate it. 2 million channel views. Pretty damn good. Yeah, next up 3 million. Oh yeah, lettuce. Mayo? I think that's mayo. Oh yeah. I'm loving it. Yeah, that's delicious. That's really good. 9 out of 10.
Hey, send a pic where we're at. I'm gonna go take a picture real quick. Oh, he's there? Oh, he's here. Yo, K1, man. You're a big dog, man. What's this? What the f is this?
Watch EDP Watch episodes early and completely uncensored. So you want to listen in on these disturbing one-on-one calls we have with these monsters.
Do you usually like rub your
So,
Man.
in Hawaii?
In Hawaii? Man, it's all over the country, big dog.
No, but you guys do it all over the world.
All over the world, man.
Yeah, so I wanted to get you guys. I know it's
Damn,
I'm sorry though.
Bro, you good, man. Listen, dog, you know, we didn't want to go to your family's house.
No.
That's why, we want to be
I was like, wait, is this the YouTubers? I was like, oh shit.
Listen, man.
I'm sorry for doing the fake.
No, you good, man. You good. But listen, you know, I don't think you're a bad guy. You know, obviously you've seen some of the videos, but
Yeah, so
you don't see what gets posted.
So why don't you guys like beat them up, like type shit?
Bro, man, we don't want to beat nobody up. Like,
I know, but you guys see the other people that do that?
yeah,
Like pumpkins and shit.
bro, I'm not a big body though. You know, I don't got hands or nothing like that, bro. Like,
But you guys build like that song.
bro, man, come on, man, you might pop out. How you say your name?
Keone.
Keone. Okay, yeah, it was a weird name, man. But bro, nice to meet you, dog.
Yeah, I knew you guys did it. I was like, oh shit, I'm gonna try getting a video.
But man, you know, literally, I don't think you're a bad kid. We just need to talk about this, dog. Okay? So, why'd you start messaging her? Like, what do you think was going on, big dog? And you can be completely honest.
So I already could tell when like you guys said I was living nearby. I was like, okay.
Okay.
Tell you guys are doing some tracking or some shit, like some hacker shit.
No. Do I look like a hacker, man? So, did you think it was us right away, or did you just like?
No, I was thinking it was one of the YouTubers that go worldwide around.
So, man, I mean, like, why would you want to meet some YouTubers like this, dog?
I just wanted to see if it was you. Hey,
I mean, I appreciate you. What's your favorite video, man?
the one where you guys got the guy in Walmart.
Really? Like, none of my pranks or nothing? You like the Predator catching video?
Yeah.
Really, man? So you respect what we do? Well, how old are you? 21, 20?
Only 20.
You're 20, bro. You got your whole life in front of you, dog.
Yeah. That was all jokes. It was just like some AI shit I usually use or some other shit some other dudes tell me.
Well, here, man, let's just sit down, dog. Like, bro, we in freaking Hawaii, man, you know. Tell me, man, like, you know, what happened with your surgery, dog? Like, what'd you get surgery on?
My arm. I got into a fight. It was rough. Like, there was hood people, and then that's when we got into, like, a lot of altercations with other people.
KO1, did you win the fight, yes or no?
No, bro.
Nah. You got put in the hospital?
No,
Oh, you got jumped?
yeah.
Okay, there's nothing wrong with getting jumped. I mean, like, you know,
Bro, do you know any, like, good freaking, like, weed spots around here? Well, you seem like a chill-ass dude, dog.
But I kind of knew it was you guys at first. So I was like,
Well, get...
shit.
Well, I mean, I feel you on that, but, bro, like...
Yeah, I went to the extent of saying all those messages.
No, it's not that. It's just, you were talking to a real 13-year-old.
Brother, what? You guys do that?
Yeah, that was cap. He was actually talking to a 30-year-old man playing Roblox. You know, the reason why I said that he was actually talking to a 13-year-old was just because bro kept on lying to us just for no reason. So I was just gonna lie to him so that way he would stop capping to us and we can actually make some headroom with this interview. No, she came to us and told us.
Oh shit! That's how you guys are like the AI and shit. Or...
No, man. Like that's why I gotta come talk to you, dog.
Oh god.
That's why I gotta come talk to you, dog.
Oh, yeah, that was all Google shit though. All the pics, all the messages. That's all AI, brother.
Big homie, man. Like, you don't gotta lie. I saw your hair.
Oh, no, yeah.
Your hair is flowing in the...
But the AI to make it like that, that's all AI, brother. I don't even...
Okay, so what part of it did you AI?
Only the D4.
So you AI'd the D4?
Yeah. Everything's all AI, man.
If you don't want to be straight up with me, like, that's fine. I'm not going to keep you here against your will. You can go, man. But, like, you know, there's no point in, like, us doing this, you know, like, BSing. You know what I mean, man? It's one of those things.
No, I ain't doing BSing. I want to meet you guys for real.
I don't doubt that you want to meet us. Yeah. But, man, like, I know for a fact that you want to meet us like this.
Oh, no, yeah, not like this. Everything was all fake. That's what I was saying.
Really?
Yeah. See, that's all AI.
Listen, big dog, you know, I know what house you took this in, man. It has the same drape.
So the way I do it, I don't know if I can show you, but...
Well, let me hear how you do it.
Sit down.
Okay.
It does the stuff for me.
It does it for you?
Yeah.
So it makes your hand too? And it makes it and everything?
Yeah.
So...
No, it doesn't do that, but you can do that special... I know, like, After Effects and Adobe, so it's all fake.
All fake.
Yeah, that's what I was saying, brother. I can't explain myself well. But I knew it was you guys, that's why I was trying to fuck around. That's what I was saying. You gotta let me explain. My friend knows how to do that shit.
So your friend made a video of you jacking. That's ayo, pause. First off, I mean, I've heard a lot of creative excuses, but having my friend AI a video of me gooning to then send to a little girl, that one in particular, I haven't heard before. Nor do I believe it.
I messaged my friend. I was like, this is YouTuber. Try to make my shit where I look like where I'm sitting down. He's like, what the fuck, nigga? And he did it. You see how it jitters and shit? It's the AI.
So that's AI.
I promise to God.
Okay, man. So I wanted to do you a courtesy, and I just want to come out here and talk to you. You know what I mean?
I don't know what to say on that, but it was effects and shit, brother.
Okay. So okay.
You guys can look at the editing.
But why are we sending this stuff to? fix the AI, right? And like, actually has 5,000 followers. He's admitted to our youth boy that he has SA over three children. One of them is his daughter's friend. And this is a very, very, very bad guy. I don't know how it's going to affect this guy. We're growing up with Virginia, man. So tell Virginia, you guys have to be honest. Told us that Virginia is really good. Away, hoping that things get down. Service and stuff. But you got to see the production go to our website, gty454.com. We all
No way.
SPD. They were there like, right. Frankly, County, when we posted this, y'all should be like, so proud of yourselves. Yeah, but why did they tell us? They clearly didn't know what was coming out. So why did they let us know that, like, hey man, you only have to come out within 2 days, bro? No, you know, like they have the authorization to arrest us from us. Yeah, no, like unless we call y'all, it doesn't do.
So what do you think made you like slip up to this like one time?
Reading about myself out there.
Are you cool with your brother?
He does coaching.
Yeah.
Never wrong.
When you were talking to Katie, you said something about you talking to one of your son's friends, man, and that she was like 18.
I didn't do that. I don't know that.
That was a lot?
No, it's not.
So, man, you sent the video of the girl.
I was waiting for her all the time.
But man, that girl wasn't 18 though, so who was she?
No fucking stupid idea. That girl right there, she actually did good.
Just a random girl on Snapchat?
All right, girls got me on Snapchat, man. Yeah, so all I ever remember
You didn't even know who she was, just finger blasted.
where the hell were her parents?
So how did she find you?
So what the heck happened when she was talking to you? Like, 6 weeks she said something about she had been with shit. She was just doing this.
So was she trying to get back at her?
She hit you up on it. What's that? I don't know how motherfuckers did that shit. No, that's what I'm saying. I don't know that she did shit.
Okay.
So this is what I'm thinking. That girl got my phone number from her cousin, which is my niece.
Yeah.
And I came up on quick ass or had me or whatever the fuck it is.
So what, she wanted some older meat or something?
I don't know, she was saying that Gabriel ain't worth the shit. Gabriel got to be out right.
Your son's girl complaining to you about your son not eating. You know, man, that Gabriel can never find out about it. If I were you, man, it's okay to the grave for your son, bro.
When you were telling Katie that you ate out, she said that was the best. As long as how old's your daughter? What did Katie talk about? I guess whoever was playing Katie, it wasn't any of us, but like, how did you feel about the conversation with her? Did she send you any nudes? Okay.
It's like, I'm just spot that shit out. Like, I'm just like, no, man. Like I said, I took all this shit off.
So I read all of it. Like, the vibe I was getting, you find somebody that's inexperienced, and it's like, I'm not gonna fuck her, but I know she is gonna fuck, so like, I'm gonna kind of just like catch her up on game. Is that kind of like the vibe? Something like that. What did you say? Like, I want you, and I want to make you all this and that. I don't know.
Phrase more than horny apply to you there? Okay, I got you. The reason why the decoy account got thrown on you in the first place is because of your niece's friend. We saw her sending news to people in Dallas, people in McKinney.
I've been down with everything I know.
We just know there was news in the chat with you and the niece somehow.
Mr. Vice President, thank you for having us here today.
Good to see you.
So you had quite an eventful morning
We did.
over at Union Station, as we saw in that clip. Tell us about how you decided to go over there. You know, a lot of us DC residents and former DC residents know it well. We've been at the site for a lot of time in recent years. Of course. And you decided to pay a visit.
Well, it's a couple things. First of all, I heard from a couple of friends who used to avoid Union Station because there were vagrants and there were crazy people screaming at kids that they avoided Union Station. But over the past 9 days, since the president did this emergency order, it looks a lot better, feels a lot safer. So I was talking with Stephen Miller and with Pete Hegseth about this in the Oval Office yesterday, and I was like, you know, we should just go over there and say hello to people. And you've got a lot of National Guardsmen over there, some DC cops who have been heckled by some of the protesters. So I thought, what a good show of moral support to have the Vice President, some of the senior team at the White House show up. We bought him some burgers, we hang out with him a little bit. And actually, the most interesting thing, Laura, was after the cameras left, Pete and Steve and I stayed and, you know, had lunch with these troops and just learned a lot about what they're seeing, about how much the city has changed in just the past 9 days. So, crazy statistic, violent crime has dropped in D.C. 35% in 9 days. Robberies in D.C. have dropped 55% in 9 days. And it highlights the fact that this living with lawlessness and disorder, that's fundamentally a question of political will. If you've got the political will to enforce the law, you can make even cities like D.C. safe again, and that's what we're demonstrating. And I hope that the American people take an important lesson from this, because obviously D.C. is a federal city, New York, L.A., these places are not. I hope the American people just recognize that you don't have to live with lawlessness. You don't have to live with third world murder rates. If you just take control of these cities, you can make them safe places to live.
So your pal Gavin Newsom calls this an abuse of power, that this is just a power grab, and this is all done for show, and that you all are going to roll through other cities. You've heard things, all with martial law is going to be declared. Into that, you said?
Well, first of all, how is it a power grab, or how is it a stunt when we've already declined murders by 35% in 9 days? How many people are living and breathing today because Donald Trump had the willpower to say, you know what, we're sick of D.C. being a home to lawlessness. We're going to bring some public order back to the nation's capital. So what I would say to Gavin Newsom or to anybody else in some of these big blue states or big blue cities is, you can have law and order, you can have common decency, you can have public spaces that young families can go to again. I think a story where a couple of years ago, last time I was in Union Station, I took my little kids there to get lunch, and they were being screamed at by homeless people. Not compassionate to the homeless people to let them just fester when they clearly have mental health problems. Not compassionate to young families to not be able to go into one of America's great public spaces without being screamed at by a person clearly suffering.
Why are Democrats doing this? I don't know. Why is this a political strategy?
Laura, I have thought about this so often and so many times. I don't know why Democrats seem to love public disorder and chaos almost as a political ideology. And I think that part of what's going on
Hey, it's a Penske with 40 million credit card and debit numbers stolen.
On its surface, the International Space Station heats up to 120 degrees Celsius. The onboard temperature and humidity control system keeps the inside at the right temperature for human survival. If it fails, the astronaut station here would literally be cooked. And just now, a hacker has gotten hold of the system software. He's not a hostile government agent, just a 15-year-old in his bedroom. He successfully gained access to 13 NASA computers. This teenager is a prodigy, one of the most talented young hackers the world has ever seen. And he didn't just break into NASA, he also hacked the Pentagon. From his point of view, he's just toying around. From the government's perspective, he's a national security threat.
Largest identity theft case ever.
Largest data breach in U.S. history.
That affected millions of people.
One that humiliated them over and over again. And one that they will go after ruthlessly. It's the year 1989, a suburban village in South Florida. This is Jonathan James. He is 6 years old. While other kids are outside playing tag, he's busy inside, glued to the family's computer. Mostly, he's just playing games. His parents are worried about his obsession. His dad is a programmer. At one point, he installs parental protection on the computer. But Jonathan just breaks through it. In his early teens, he starts reading books in the programming language C for the operating system Unix, the precursor for Linux and Mac OS. He studies source code extensively and talks to other computer enthusiasts. He spends countless hours in front of the computer, often until late into the night.
Stop it. Think I'm fucking around here as well?
Well,
Fuck around as I'm find out.
Then installs Linux.
As I was fuck around. As land.
Stop him.
As land.
His
As
regularly arguments with his parents. It doesn't get any better once he gets his own PC. After a while, his parents decide to confiscate it.
Stupid cat.
Jonathan runs away and says he's not coming home until he gets it back. Soon, it won't be his parents who are trying to keep the computer. At 15, Jonathan, curious preteen to full-blown hacker, one of the youngest and best at the time. Online, he's known under his alias, Comrade. Jonathan really enjoys messing with systems, not to break them, but to beat them. It's a power thing, a control thing. He likes the thrill of it. The tougher the system, the more it pulls him in. He goes in. It's not so secure after all, from the inside. He doesn't care much about the stuff inside. He doesn't steal data, delete files, or spread viruses. In fact, sometimes he does the opposite. He'll break it, then send a polite little email to the system admin. Hey, your setup's got holes. Here's where. Here's how to fix it. In the summer of 1999, Jonathan is looking for a new challenge, so he decides to hack NASA. More specifically, the agency's Marshall Space Flight Center in Huntsville, Alabama. He gains access to 13 NASA computers. It's unclear how, and this time Jonathan decides to actually take something. He downloads proprietary software valued at $1.7 million. It's the software for the temperature and humidity control of the ISS. In an interview, Jonathan will later say, "The code itself was crappy, certainly not worth $1.7 million like they claimed. The only reason I was downloading the source code in the first place was because I was studying C programming, and what better way to learn than reading software written by the government." Just downloading the software didn't give Jonathan remote control over the ISS systems. Having the source code is one thing, but actually sending commands to a spacecraft is a whole different story. It would have taken more steps to actually access the system. But this hack is still a massive security breach. When NASA finds out, they have to shut down their systems for 3 weeks, resulting in damages of around $40,000. Months later, Jonathan takes up his next challenge, hacking the Pentagon. More specifically, the Defense Threat Reduction Agency. It analyzes and deals with potential threats to the U.S. from nuclear, chemical, and biological weapons. Jonathan gains access to a server in Dulles, Virginia, and installs a backdoor. Again, it is unknown how he actually pulled this off. Once inside DTR systems, he intercepts more than 3,300 messages to and from DTR staff. He retrieves 19 usernames and passwords of employees, at least 10 of which have access to military computers. Jonathan thinks his hacks are no big deal. To him, they are, quote, just harmless exploration. Law enforcement disagrees. It's an early morning in January 2000. Last month, Jonathan turned 16. By now, he has not one, but multiple computers of his own. He is well connected with other hackers, sharing tips and tricks. He also loves Star Trek. His mother comes into the room and wakes him up.
Jonathan, honey, the FBI's at the door.
They're here for him. They raid his family home and take 5 computers. Some CDs and a Star Trek book. Full choice for evidence. Jonathan is questioned by the officers. He admits everything and promises to never do it again. Then he hears nothing for 3 months. And then the authorities press charges, and his life begins to change dramatically. Jonathan James becomes the youngest person ever convicted of violating cybercrime laws in the US. If Jonathan had been an adult, he might have ended up with a decade behind bars. But he's still a minor. So the US District Court of Miami puts him on 6 months house arrest. Jonathan is no longer allowed to use his computers in his free time. And even worse, he has to write letters of apology to NASA and the Department of Defense. Later, he tests positive for drugs, a clear probation violation, so he gets sent to a juvenile detention facility for 6 months. He's scared about spending time there with actual criminals. His father will later say that prison changed Jonathan. It made him strangely idle. Looking back, Jonathan regrets the whole thing. What started as fun challenges ended with him behind bars. The thrills weren't worth it, not even close. From that point on, he decides to leave hacking behind for good. But not everyone believes him. And a few years later, his past life will catch up with him. Some viewers think our animations are made with AI. Our 3D artists, who spend countless hours building these shots from scratch, aren't angry, just disappointed. AI can be helpful with other tasks though, like research. That's where brilliant AI comes in. Superior on the reference code is Albert Gonzalez. He's got a few things in common with Jonathan James. He was also born in the 80s. He too is a self-taught hacker. When he was 14, he also broke into NASA systems. And, as a consequence, he also got a visit by the FBI. But that didn't stop Gonzalez from hacking. Far from it. We don't know if Albert Gonzalez and Jonathan James knew each other, but they had a common hacker friend called Christopher Scott. Gonzalez went by many aliases on the internet, but his favorite was Soup Nazi, a reference to his Seinfeld episode. You want bread? Yes, please. $20. In the early 2000s, Gonzalez stumbled across Shadow Group, a marketplace for trafficking stolen credit and bank card numbers and identity information. And even though the feds are having an eye on him, he gets involved. In 2003, he gets caught trying to pull cash from an ATM using fake credit cards. To avoid jail time, he agrees to work with the Secret Service. Soon he helps them bust a bunch of Shadow Group members. You'd expect that his work as an informant in the Secret Service would stop him from any criminal activity. But well, in his view, the salary from the Secret Service is too low. So he gets back to what he does best, hacking. He sets up an elaborate scheme he calls Get Rich or Die Trying. The scheme will turn into one of the world's biggest cases of identity theft. It'll ruin his life. But Jonathan James will end up dead. This is Scott, who is both friends with Gonzalez and James. Next to him sits someone who, according to criminal reports, is only known as JJ. They're doing something called war driving. It's a simple technique. You drive around in your car and park close to companies. You only need your laptop and a high-power radio antenna. Once you're close enough, you check for vulnerabilities in their Wi-Fi network. Back then, most companies weren't exactly taking cybersecurity seriously. Inside Office Max, people are buying Post-its and whiteboard markers in 4 colors, gearing up for a meeting that probably could have been emailed. Outside, Scott and JJ access the store's Wi-Fi, and through that enter its systems. Once inside, they install a sniffer program, which captures and downloads credit and debit card data from customers. Then they send the data to Gonzalez. He forwards it to another hacker, who decrypts the PIN codes. Gonzalez and his crew don't just sell the stolen card info, they encode them onto blank magnetic strip cards and use those to pull tens of thousands of dollars out of ATMs. After the Office Max breach, banks were apparently forced to reissue about 200,000 cards. And this hack wasn't a one-off. Over the span of the next 3 years, Gonzalez and his crew hacked into several major U.S. companies, including BJ's Wholesale Club, Boston Market, Barnes & Noble, Forever 21, and others. Their biggest credit card data heist happens at TJX. That's the parent company of TJ Maxx, Marshalls, Home Goods, and others. Around 96 million TJX customers are affected by the theft of their credit and debit card info. At the time, these attacks make up the largest case of identity theft in U.S. history. The crew stole the data of around 180 million credit and debit cards. The total damage of all affected companies amounts to roughly $400 million in reimbursements, legal costs, and forensic fees.
There's a major break in a credit card scam that affected millions of people.
Experts say this man's arrest may lead to the kingpin behind the biggest credit card ID theft in history.
The Secret Service investigates, and at one point, they realize that their very own informant is not only involved, but is a mastermind behind the TJX heist. May 2008, Pinecrest, Florida. Jonathan James is 24 years old now. He doesn't go to college, he doesn't have a job. His mother died of breast cancer 6 years ago. Together with his brother, he still lives in the house he grew up in. He apparently suffers from depression. Overall, he's living a withdrawn life and is retired from hacking. But today, you'll get another surprise visit. This time, it's the Secret Service. They raid the family's house, just like the FBI had done 8 years ago. They drew a connection from Gonzalez to Christopher Scott to him. They suspect that JJ is short for Jonathan James, and that he's part of the hacker group. The agents go through Jonathan's stuff. They find a suicide note he had written years ago, and a gun. We don't know if the agents offer him psychological help, but according to Jonathan, they don't confiscate the weapon. Jonathan is shocked. He swears that he has nothing to do with the TJX case. What's going on? On the subpoena, he's able to find some answers. He reads about this guy, Albert Gonzalez. Jonathan recognizes him by another nickname he used online. Gonzalez has been working as an informant for the feds since 2003. For 5 years, Gonzalez used Scott to pull off his hacks, while simultaneously writing out other hackers to the feds to stay in their good graces. Jonathan is sure that Gonzalez is now trying to pin the hacks on Scott. And he is getting a bad feeling. He thinks he'll be a much more appealing target than Chris. It might not matter to the feds that he's innocent. Even though, in his words, Scott and Gonzalez are the most destructive, dangerous hackers the feds ever caught. They'll let them off easy because he's a juicier target. That would please the public more. In Jonathan's mind, the picture is clear. They need a scapegoat. Not Gonzalez, not Scott, not the one who actually caused the damage, but him, Jonathan. In his words, the feds played dirty. He holds these beliefs for a reason. There's this paper that has made rounds in the hacker scene, Agent Steele's Guide to Getting Busted. It's basically a survival guide for hackers, written by one who ended up in prison. Agent Steele's real name was Justin Tanner Peterson. He was an American hacker who worked as an informant for the feds while continuing to commit crimes. Agent Steele writes, "The criminal justice system is a game to be played, both by prosecution and defense. If you have to be a player, you'd be wise to learn the rules of engagement." He makes it clear that law enforcement isn't always fair. They play dirty and will do just about anything, including lying, to win their case. Jonathan read this guide, and he knows that Gonzalez is working with the feds, so he's convinced he's going to prison, even though he's innocent. The first time was already terrifying. He doesn't want to go through that again. On May 18, 2008, 2 weeks after agents raided his home, Jonathan was found dead in his home after a self-inflicted gunshot wound. He wrote a note. There were messages to his family and friends, passwords to his accounts. In this letter, he also expresses his opinion on the authorities. He writes, "I have no faith in the justice system. Perhaps my actions today, in this letter, will send a stronger message to the public. Either way, I have lost control over the situation, and this is my only way to regain control. Remember, it's not whether you win or lose, it's whether I win or lose. And sitting in jail for 20, 10, or even 5 years for a crime I didn't commit is not me winning. I died free." In March 2010, Albert Gonzalez was sentenced to 20 years in federal prison for his role in a series of hacks. In the backyard of his parents, the Secret Service seized a barrel containing $1.2 million in cash. Christopher Scott was sentenced to 7 years in prison for his role in the attacks. It's likely that the pseudonym JJ didn't refer to Jonathan James, but rather to Stephen Watt, another figure convicted in the TJX case, who was known.
Giant ginger tree hippies don't always choose peace, but in 2014, one shocked scientist when she not only orchestrated the life canceling of another, she essentially hired a hitman to do it. The hairy honey trap was executed by a young female named Condor, and the victim was a mother 20 years older named Sidoni. Living in the swamp forests of Indonesia's Mawas Reserve, the two had beef going back all the way to 2009, with Condor curiously approaching Sidoni's at the time 7-year-old daughter, and Sidoni defensively smacking and biting Condor before chasing her off. The perceived insolence stuck with Condor, and disrespect was tattooed into her psyche. She was not letting that slide. Years later, Condor would catch the eye of a male named Echo, and the two would eventually run into Sidoni. They both approached, and Echo seemed to inspect Sidoni, who was now jockeyed by her 4-year-old son. Echo seemed curious in the mother, before losing interest and proceeding to mate with Condor right in front of Sidoni. Call it passion or power play, but either way, when Sidoni tried exiting the situation, Condor escalated, ending the lovemaking and savagely beating Sidoni. But what blew researchers away was Echo going from bystander to participant. For 33 minutes, the two took turns beating on Sidoni, sometimes together, sometimes just Condor, with Echo blocking off any escape routes. It was an honest to 8 jumping, and his much larger canines meant Echo inflicted the bulk of the damage. The pair didn't stop until a 4th orang, a male named Guapo, chased Echo off and ran defense for Sidoni, before mating with her. The Orange Knight would be too late, as a little over 2 weeks later, Sidoni became past tense to her injuries, and scientists were left wondering what they had just witnessed. In over 26,000 hours of observation, only 6 female-on-female attacks were recorded, and none caused serious injuries. Yet here was a spiteful O-ring leveraging her carnal currency, specifically to erase one of her rivals, and Echo acting as a hired gun. Premeditated and personal, it was a shockingly dark look into the intelligence of the Forest Man. One that begs the question, just how smart are they, and just what could they be capable of? To say orangutans are intelligent is honestly disrespectful, because this tree-happy ginger ape is damn near human. That is an animal that can 100% speak. They just really don't want to deal with taxes. And that's only partially a joke. Their name, Orang-Utang, literally translates to man of the forest, because locals swore they were plus-size people that chose not to speak because they know then they'd have to get jobs. In 2014, a court in Argentina actually granted human rights to Sandra the orangutan after 20 years of captivity. There's a cute saying that goes, if you give a chip a screwdriver, it'll use it as a weapon.
If 1,000 ants had to fight a Black Widow, what would actually happen? Would the spider's venom come out on top, or would the sheer number of ants overwhelm her? Well, in this video, I'm going to test ants against that and tons of other interesting... If you survive, I'll bring you and a few sticks from my backyard, then I put in the Black Widow. Immediately, she started climbing all over the sticks. And I went and waited a little while she sort of settled in and found a nice spot to rest. Once she did, I went to the ant nest, scooped a good amount of the workers into a tube so we could get this battle started. Let's get these ants in here. Let the games begin! Immediately, the ants started to run out of the tube and down onto the sand. When pretty much all of the ants had made it down to the sand, some started to make their way over to the Black Widow, which was just perched right above them on the sticks. But I'm not gonna lie, I'm a pretty impatient guy, and I couldn't bear to wait for the battle to start. So I literally picked up the stick myself to bring the spider down to the ants. Immediately, the spider started to run around. None of the ants really noticed besides this guy. That kind of bit the spider's leg or something and scared it away. The spider tried to escape as fast as it could by climbing in the glass, but it was too slick. Once a few other of the ants had noticed the Black Widow was on the ground, they started to jump it. And it was actually pretty funny to watch, because as you can see, there's barely any ants, and the spider was so scared, trying to run away at full speed. Bro, you're like the most venomous spider in the world. Why are you not just fighting back? And yeah, a couple of the ants was doing it like a crazy, running every time. Well, I dropped the spider inside, and it immediately started going crazy, running everywhere. And obviously, the ants did not act kindly. Every single worker went on red alert mode and jumped onto the spider, grabbing her with their mandibles and repeatedly stinging it over and over. As you saw with the cricket, ants do not mess around with stuff in their nest. And to my surprise, the Black Widow did not even get a chance to fight back. It's actually pretty crazy how quickly the ants had pinned it down and started to devour it. And yeah, well, that's literally all that happened. And that should answer your question of who wins in a fight. 1,000 ants definitely wins. And they basically beat everything. There's a reason why ants are the secret king of the animal kingdom, because there's quadrillions of ants around the world. But one final thing, I have an important message for all the kids and families and parents watching out there, because the new Terror Green activity...
Have you looked at my channel?
Shit.